Tell us a bit more about the vigil and the march today.
Well, President Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, a few days ago, called for people across the globe to take to the streets in solidarity to show their support for Ukraine, to show their support for the people of Ukraine, and to show their support for freedom. So we're doing that, but also we condemn Putin's barbaric aggression, and we know the people of Ukraine will see these images. We want them to know that in their darkest hour, they're not alone.
And Sadiq, of course, London is a melting pot for different cultures. Will you be supporting a Ukrainian family? We know the Transport Secretary, Grant Shapps, says he'll be working through the motions to welcome a Ukrainian family.
Well, I'm full of admiration for everyone who's opening their homes to Ukrainian refugees. We personally won't be for a variety of reasons, not least protection, security and lack of space. But in London, we've seen over the last few weeks, Londoners going above and beyond, not just donating money to brilliant charities, but also by opening their homes to those arriving. And I've been incredibly proud at the actions of Londoners over the last few days and weeks. And what's clear is we're sending a message loud and clear that refugees are welcome here.
And many British families saying that they're frustrated by the scheme to try to bring Ukrainian families here to the UK, to London. They're saying that it's full of red tape. We heard from a woman earlier today on Sky News in Breakfast. So she was close to tears with the frustration around the difficulties. What do you think about the response from the government in allowing families to come here?
In relation to this issue, the governments have been appalling. We've been lobbying them for weeks now to do what other countries in mainland Europe have done to make it far, far more easier for those people fleeing for their lives, refugees, to be able to come to London. There's a disconnect between the generosity shown by Londoners and Brits across the country and the actions of our government. The complex visa forms, the delay, the red tape makes it really hard. I spoke yesterday to a Londoner who finally, after 4 weeks, has been able to open his home to a Ukrainian. It shouldn't be that hard. I speak on a regular basis to leaders in Germany, in France, in Italy, in Spain and Poland. And when I compare and contrast what we as a country have done from our government versus those, I'm embarrassed.
Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, will say, though, that there are reasons to have these security checks, not least, for example, if it was a Russian spy that was perhaps trying to take in a family. So there are those security checks, they say, that need to be in place. What would you say to the Home Secretary?
Of course we've got to have security checks, but you don't need long questionnaires, many pages of forms to fill in to reassure Priti Patel that they're not a danger to the safety of our country. The reality is more than 3 million Ukrainians have left Ukraine. The reality is many tens of thousands have been given a safe haven in cities in Germany, France, Italy, Spain, who also have security concerns. Why are we different? It's really important that it's far easier for those refugees fleeing Ukraine, asylum seekers and refugees, to be given a safe haven in London. We know we've got a good track record as a city in providing a safe haven for those fleeing, whether it's Afghanistan, whether it's Syria, and now Ukraine. But it's really important the government makes it far easier. Otherwise, the Ukrainians will be left with the impression we really are creating a hostile environment. We're better than that.